I love karate. I love karate. I love money. Eh? I hate all of you. Welcome. It's the one and only Sunday marathon. And I'm Max again. What are you guys?
I'm Chris.
I'm SpongeBob.
Yeah, baby. Coming in Karate Kid style, the way he did it.
Yeah.
That was actually very on brand.
Yeah, for the Karate Kid.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's how he
good.
sort of does things. Playing it fast and loose with the rules. He's a renegade.
Making
being-
them Krabby Patties.
Yeah, being taught by Jackie Chan, and he's going around sort of being small and Will Smith's son.
Yeah,
Yes. So
that
yeah,
EB.
that's what we're talking about today. This is the Karate Kid 5 through 6. And just seeing where it sort of takes us. How have we been this week?
Same as always.
Same
I
as
know,
always.
it's just getting to the point where we're like, yeah, like we always just answer
God,
yeah.
it's like-
There's no actual answer.
There's like nothing
to
that
this
happens
question.
to us on a weekly basis. We might as well. It's almost like we should make it like a like a fortnightly basis
Do you
or
know what?
something.
That was quite a beautiful segue.
Yeah, maybe we'll play with the idea. Who knows? Who's to say? But yeah, that's what's been going on. We went to a festival recently,
We
didn't
did.
we?
Oh yeah, yeah, we did that.
I love that. All of time
Yeah, we did
has
that
become
Takedown Festival
that's the
from
point.
in our own hometown, and that was
Mm.
first time we've been to this one. They had a hiatus for like 7 years or something. It was originally in Southampton, but now they brought it back, baby, and now it's in Portsmouth, and now we can go and they do the
just-
music that we like.
And then go to sleep immediately
That is true.
after.
Yeah, like we walked home.
Yeah, that. Do you know what? That's the best kind of gig, really, isn't it? When you can just go home.
It was really good, yeah, and just sort of. I didn't appreciate Chris trying to take us down that dark alley afterwards. He was like, "Guys, this is a shortcut," but he also was completely wrong.
Yeah, I can
Um,
also tell you from experience, it's not a shortcut because I know where that alley goes. It doesn't go anywhere
Yeah.
near
I
either
was
of
like,
us.
no, I need to go south, and he was like, "Let's go like west." Like, oh,
Yeah, I don't know what you were trying to do. I think you were
You know,
trying
you
to get
go
us
down
killed.
some rows, you go past King's Tavern, and you
Yeah,
come
but
out
that's
onto the
yeah,
road.
but that was
it's like-
longer.
It's like it's just it's a different way of getting to the same place at the same time.
It does
but
take
darker.
quite a while. You would have been better off going further that way
Yeah.
and then up the same. It's like the same direction, but it doesn't go the same way.
Chris was like, "East? I thought you said west." But yeah, all our favourite
Yeah.
bands played, and we had a lovely time.
It was a fun
Yeah,
time.
it was a good
indeed.
time indeed.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I mean, yeah, I think I'll go back again. Although,
There were some sound issues.
there were some right issues. They were having some bad times, man.
Yeah,
all of
felt
them.
bad for the band too. We
Yeah,
had to like.
very much so.
It was like the first band as well that we saw.
Oh, yeah, we got
And
that
their
really
microphone
late,
didn't
though.
work for the vocalist.
I do wonder if that's been happening all day.
Maybe
Like,
just
we-
an unhappy coincidence.
Because we
Just
got
for
it, like
everyone
towards the
else
middle
was
of the day.
late because of tech issues, including the headliner Sleep Token, who were like half an hour late. I think in the end had to cut a song out the
Mhm.
set list as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's.
I think that was a common thing for everyone that day.
yeah, it's a real shame.
And they had to play slightly over curfew just to appease the masses, I suppose. It was only like 3 minutes or
Yeah,
something, but
Don't know if they really pushed the boat out on that one,
no.
but yeah,
You can only do so much though, right? Like before you get told off by the big corporate council who want to come over and tell you that you're being too loud on a Sunday night.
well, I mean,
I
it's
don't
like in
know
the
what
middle of
day it
town, I
even was.
suppose.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing it again next year, so that's good. Just seeing
Yeah, I wonder who they'll get.
this. Yeah, well, who's to say? Who knows?
There was a huge debate in the crowd, and my favourite one was the person who said, "Oh, Rammstein will do it," and I said, "They're too big."
And too German.
And I just got
You're not getting Rammstein in
no.
Portsmouth. It's just not going to happen.
No, they're a stadium band. They're not gonna
Yeah,
play a venue so
all
small.
of their like shows rely on like really heavy pyrotechnics and stuff, and I don't think we have the room, the capacity, or the licenses for any of that kind of stuff.
Not a big enough place for fire.
No. Funny though.
Yeah, funny stuff.
Yeah, we love crowd control.
Yeah. All that and more. And just, yeah, good time. Go if you want next year.
Go if you want.
If you went, tell us. Who did you see?
And I hope everyone says Skin Dread.
Yeah, it's not like...
I saw a full set from Skin Dread. You didn't get a full set. Yeah, fair enough.
Just like completely off topic from like the point of the podcast as well, but it's like whatever. Well, if we ain't doing anything else, we might as well talk about what we've been up to. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, we
talk
always
about
do that
music
though,
a lot,
in theory.
I feel.
Yeah.
Quite true. Maybe we should change it to the Sunday movie music marathon.
I'll be honest, I probably would mesh better on this if it was a music podcast.
It's too bad.
I know. It's just the thoughts that I have. I think I
You know
definitely
what?
would.
Well, we could do
it'd be more fitting.
fortnightly episodes of this, and we alternate it, and just start another podcast.
Yeah.
Called the Sunday Music Marathon.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
It doesn't
There's
have
so much
quite
for
the
that
same
break.
name on it though, but you know.
But yeah, we are taking a break. After our break we're going to take more breaks and just do it 2 weeks.
That's just it's a
At a
changing
time.
schedule, isn't it?
Because you know, a lot of podcasts that come out like once a week. They'll usually like do it. They're like the big ones that do it in bulk, and they have the time to do that. We don't have the time to do that. And
Or
also,
it's like their full-time job, so
Yeah,
recording
and we
once a week
also
is nothing.
Don't do that.
or they just like get on a Zoom call and just do it. But we have to. For some reason, we decided to make it really hard for ourselves, and just we need to watch like 6 to 12 hours worth of movies in order to make an episode.
Yeah.
And it takes,
Surprised,
like-
honestly, that we
Yeah.
didn't decide to do two weekly episodes. Or
well, yeah, I was just
by
going off the format you
Yeah.
guys were going off of, to be honest. I've always been
that
okay
we
with the
created
idea.
ourselves because we were bored in lockdown. And that's just how it sort of stuck. And
Yeah.
because we had all the time in the world in lockdown, and then after lockdown happened, we had stuff going on again. We were like, "God, this is getting quite stressful. Actually, it's getting quite hard to keep up."
Especially
yeah.
with us all working jobs.
Yeah, all full timers, and didn't want to cancel the podcast or anything or stop doing it because we like doing it. But yeah, every 2 weeks, do that starting from now.
Well, it's definitely more manageable, I'd assume. Well, maybe for you guys, because I don't really do anything. Although I am going to be on the podcast less and less during the upcoming months, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
It's the first time I'm hearing about it.
Oh no! I forgot all about it. I was
That's
walking home
classic,
with Chris
isn't
from the festival.
Anytime
right?
Darcy decides to piss me off, she's like, "Well, I just forgot about it. So how about that?"
No, it's purely all work based. Because if I'm at these festivals and stuff, there's going to be a big chunk of time where
You're starting the
I'm
Sunday
gonna be
music
on and off
marathon,
of it.
aren't you? You're doing it without us.
on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thing is though, I'm not billed to work that many of them at the moment, so it might not be that big an issue. But I was telling Chris, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta go to festivals and like work them and shit. Like I might not actually be around for most of it.
Well, you know what? That's just fine. You know, fine.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I don't even care.
We know at least 2 people who would probably,
fill
be
in
a
for me.
guest.
Sure.
by that I mean one possible maybe.
Yeah, one possible maybe. We've done solo podcasts though, haven't we, Chris? We've done a couple.
Yeah. That we have.
Oh, roaring successes. All of them. Yeah.
If I just connect via phone, you'll hear me like crackling on the other end. Like I didn't get to watch them because I'm actually at this festival. But it was
Yeah,
a
you did
good
that
one.
once, didn't you? When we did the Chappelle show one, we talked to you over Zoom.
I
Yeah.
was see.
Yeah.
This is
That was a weird one.
Yeah, we had
This is
Connor
pretty
there
weird.
This
as
is how I
well, so we
roll.
were all at his place speaking to Darcy over Zoom.
Yeah, I'm
That's a great one. Yeah, check out the Chappelle show
Yeah,
episode.
I'm very much a.
The audio just
bouncer.
sounds like absolute shit in
I
that
bet
one.
it does.
Yeah.
The can't rely
But
on
you
it,
know,
man.
not much we can do about that, I suppose.
No.
We're not all wizards.
No, we also don't do this full time. Sponsors, listen,
Sponsors,
listen.
come
to us.
out here and give us some sponsors.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends,
Come listen.
anything. We'll do it. Literally anything.
Raycon
Anything.
earbuds. Come on.
Raycon earbuds. Just do it.
Loops. I've been recommending a lot of loops recently. Come at me, boy.
Yeah, loops. I just bought a pair of yours. Helps me get through the night.
Yeah, I've got
Please.
2 different pairs.
Please, loops.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But anyway, should we talk about some movies?
Yeah, that's the whole point.
We watched a movie the other week, so I'm not super fresh on it. We went to the cinema and we saw the prequel movie to the movie X, directed by Ty West. Pearl, starring Mia Goth and some others. And this is the prequel to the movie X. And
it was directed by Ty West.
It was directed by Ty West. And Mia Goth is there, and she plays the protagonist, who was the old woman in X. And she wants to be a star, baby. I don't usually...
Yeah.
I don't usually intro the first movie, so I'm kind of thrown off, but I'm doing the best I can under the circumstances. So if you could just stop laughing at me, that'd be great. And she wants to audition for the movies. Her husband is away at the war, possibly dead. She don't know, so she lives with her parents on the farm, tending to the animals and all that, and the crocodiles. And yeah, she just wants to be in the movies, and she wants to be a big Hollywood star. And that's why she screams, "Oh, but I'm a star!"
Yeah, that's pretty much the whole movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens. She goes on like auditions and stuff like that, and she's also insane and a maniac and kills people.
She is.
I completely forgot about that part. Yeah,
I just forgot the part where she was absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's good. I wasn't that big on X. I don't know if we talked about X. Maybe
Yeah, I didn't like
don't
X
think we did.
either.
No, I don't. It wasn't like a major talking point. We might have talked about it a bit.
Yeah, I think we watched it quite long after it came out.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah, we probably just never got around to it.
It's one of those that like everybody else saw,
Mm.
and then we got it here in the UK.
yeah,
like a
we,
year after.
we like plans to go see it, but like none of the times worked out. And then it got
Mhm.
to the point where our cinema was only showing it like weekdays at like 11 p.m.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was the other kind of situation where we got it so late in the time frame that we just decided to not bother and torrent
No, it was
No.
literally just, it was showing at such infrequent times. There was like
Mhm.
a week, I think, where they were showing it like pretty regularly, and we all got COVID, so we couldn't go.
God, was that time?
Yeah.
it. No,
I was thinking about that today. I was like, did we get COVID last year?
Yeah.
It felt
That's
like 2
insane.
years
yeah,
ago.
It feels
now. Yeah.
really
Feels-
a long time ago. But yeah, that was a dark time for you guys, not for me. I had a great time while having COVID.
I only had it for 4 days, so I was fine.
Oh Jesus, yeah. I mean, I had it for like 2 weeks.
I think I had it for like 5 days.
I kind of felt
Yeah.
like a medical oh my god, I can't even speak. Anomaly? Is that the right word?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but only because everyone says that you're supposed to have it for around, like, I don't know, at least 5 days.
Yeah, there was the incubation period of like 10 days, they said.
Oh yeah, that might be it. To be
And
fair.
it was like 14 to begin with. And then the government were like, not enough people are at work. It's now 10 days. And then they were like, not enough people are still at work. It's now 5 days or something.
Yes, it's
We're all
something
like-
insane.
Well, they've like advanced medicine pretty well then. They were like, no, just not enough people in work.
It was just so inconvenient to them that they changed biology completely.
Fuck, yeah, I watched a movie about that the other day, actually. But that was called Help, and watch Help if you have Netflix or all four. That's a really good movie. But Pearl. So we saw Pearl in the cinema this time. We didn't have to torrent it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we
it was a really good experience, I thought. I really like Mia Goth. I think she's like one of the ones who's sort of knocking it out of the park recently.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
She's like insane.
She's
She does things that
scary.
like she is like scarily. She's a very interesting actor, I think. Scarily interesting because she does things. I saw also Infinity Pool the other day. Maybe I'll talk about that a little bit after this. But that was like, you see her go to places and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How the fuck are you doing?
I think we were going to try and watch Infinity Pool before the next episode.
Okay, well I'll save it then.
Also, she's channeling
Yeah.
some strange energy.
She's a wild one, man. I feel like she's one of those who will do absolutely anything.
Yeah, I
Like,
think so.
could do anything. Because I was thinking, like, what else has she done? She did like that High Life movie we watched. That was weird as shit.
Yeah.
She also does stuff
yeah.
like Emma, which I don't think any of us saw.
I thought you were going to say you did.
No, I didn't see it because it looked boring. But
Yeah.
this was
why I
boring.
didn't.
This is very interesting. Although it's one of those where I think like what I explained the movie was about is exactly what it is, and just like about 3 things happen in the movie.
Yeah,
but it
because that's
feels
all
like
it is.
it felt like a succession of things happened, and then it ended, and it felt at once like it took forever to say that, and also no time at all because it ended, and all I'd gotten was like 3 things.
I think it's more of like a character piece. You're kind of exploring this character, who she is, her personality, the weird shit she does.
Yeah, it was
yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't even say an arc. It was a
It was a
squiggly
slow descent.
Yeah, a squiggly
or
slope.
a very fast descent, depending on
Yeah.
how you want.
I thought it was quite quick, to be honest.
I was watching her like with her parents, or like how they sort of bounced off of each other, and how her father was like a vegetable basically, but she would like torture him
Yeah, it was pretty sad.
just
to
for
be
the
fair.
fuck of it, just because she could. She would like, what did she do? She like strangled him or something.
Did you like stab him with some?
There's a point where
scissors
she
or
was
something?
about to feed him to the crocodile, and her mum stopped her.
Yeah, that's the kind
The
of
stuff proper, yeah.
it's the kind of gal we're dealing with in this movie. It's sort of girl power 101.
Yeah, feed your dad to the crocodiles, girl power.
Yeah, I thought probably just as like a character piece, I found it to be a lot more intriguing than X, because I don't think they really delved
Agreed.
into that. Was like purely a slasher movie, and I don't know if like I'm just not a big fan of slashers anyway. If that's like the whole point of the movie is to be a slasher, and that definitely was. But where I found this has Pearl has elements of that, like a lot of it. She does go out and kill people, and it's like kind of brutal fucking murders in this.
Yeah,
movie.
definitely.
But it does have that extra layer of like, and also she's just doing like a really good performance and just like embodying the character, that it makes it probably a very high cut above X, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I didn't see. I didn't really gel with X, to be honest. I think
No.
it's just one of those movies that see. I actually quite like slasher movies, but this didn't feel any. I didn't feel anything original about it, really. Like, oh, the most original thing is that it's supposed to be filming porn. Whoa, I'm so taken back. I can't believe this original movie idea. Like, I don't know, X just not well. I don't know. Pearl felt different to me. Pearl felt a bit more. I always like getting to know the most fucked up person in a story. I'm like, I wonder what's going on with her. She's crazy.
Yeah, I like Dex a lot, but I definitely think Pearl's a much better movie. But they are going for like 2 completely different things. This kind of a lot of it, I felt like almost feels like Sound of Music or like Wizard of Oz or one of those films,
some sort
and
of
then
magical...
it like slowly gets darker and darker as it goes on. You can definitely tell it's like a love letter to like that early sort of like 50s or 40s cinema.
But if the Grimm's brothers
adding his
wrote it or
like
something.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like literally, there's like a scarecrow in it. So
yeah,
I felt like that fed into the more Wizard of Ozzy type feeling to it.
And the scarecrow got laid.
The scarecrow got laid, yeah, and that was a lot of fun.
and it like starts off with her like dancing in the barn and shit.
Yeah, I thought it was quite very Dorothy-esque.
Yeah,
taking that like glitz and glam of like what she wants to go into Hollywood, I guess, and the like more obsessing tail end of that, where mostly you see movies about characters who they want to do these things and they want to go into Hollywood or show business or whatever. And maybe they'd go through a lot of trials and tribulations to get there, but they do end up there eventually. But with this, it's like, I mean, spoiler alert for Pearl, but she does not ever get there.
I legit thought that it was going to be one of those movies though, where she auditions for something and then she gets it and then she goes through like, the whole Hollywood is terrible, you're going to hate this, and then she was going to go insane.
Yeah, it was like
I
a succession of just like watching her fail over and over again. And she, Like literally never succeeds.
Yeah,
like, not
it
even
was-
at the end does she succeed.
No, it was pretty awful. Actually.
Well, yeah, she lost that. She was a massive loser the entire time.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
yeah.
how you make that like interesting to watch as like a whole thing, and like to tell a story about a character who just loses all the time. It was like
It goes
watching the
insane.
In-Betweeners without
Yeah.
any sort of triumph whatsoever.
Yeah, I felt like there was very little reprieve, right?
Yeah.
Like
even in like the In-Betweeners, where the whole point is that they're
Yeah.
sad, pathetic losers. Even then, they have like a molecule, a crumb of just like success every so often. But with here, it's like not even at all. But it's still interesting to watch, even without those like peaks.
yeah,
It's just all trough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of what made it more interesting, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I don't know, like obviously I don't mind, characters, winning some, losing some, but it's very, I don't know, it's very rare that you just see nothing but it's just decline and then decline.
It's pretty sad.
It's really
It is.
depressing, and I kind of understand where Pal's coming from, to be honest. Like, I think you'd get to that point and you'd be like,
Yeah, I
I don't know, you just lose it. You just lose it, wouldn't you? You just be like, what's the, like?
Yeah.
I would understand why she went insane. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
As
I mean,
opposed to
I get her circumstances,
Yeah.
but she was also. I mean, she even says like in the movie, like I was like born different, or like I'm a bit fucked up, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
you just have to be a different kind of person to be like that.
yeah, you got to be predisposed, right? Because
Yeah.
I guess it depends what kind of person you are, right? Because some people do suffer nothing but constant misery, and they're
Mhm.
never murdered anyone, or all that upset.
She didn't let it keep her down. She
Yeah.
kept going.
And then she was like, "Oh, I can't become a dancer, so I'm just gonna kill everyone around."
Yeah. She sort of got what she wanted in the end, though. She got her husband back, and
Right.
True.
I actually think my one of my favourite bits was actually just how that film ended. And
such
everyone
a
was
good
just
ending.
standing
It was
there,
such a
like,
great
going-
ending. It was really good.
I didn't leave the cinema. I just didn't leave. I was just waiting for it to
The
finish, and it
credits
just
scrolling.
never finished.
It's like it wasn't even like a freeze frame at the end. It was just
No.
like her smiling.
but it was
and
like
she was, like, so
shaking
happy
around,
for her
yes, yeah.
Husband to be back, but she was also so disturbed about
Yeah.
everything that had happened. But it just, I loved like watching people just walk out of the cinema as it was still going on.
I couldn't. I was
And
just
like
standing
seeing
there
her just
waiting.
keep smiling. I was like, what? It's like not the end. though.
It's so
It's-
weird.
It is really unnerving, that ending.
Yeah, it's
I,
great. It's
I
good
like
stuff.
it. Suits though, doesn't it? Like I think that was
Mhm.
like the best way to end it.
Mm.
It's got
Ugh,
those
it's
like
creepy.
really good like credits as well, or just like the way that the credits are like introduced in the movie and then as it ends as well. And it's got this like kind of weird like that's all folks type of font to it.
Yeah, it's very
Um,
Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
very good.
Mm.
And then to end it with like that closing of the shot, just how they do it with like the circle that closes in. It's
Mm.
just kind of going around her face. That was very Looney Tunesy,
That
but
was-
like it's obviously trying to parody that type of
Yeah,
thing in a way.
definitely.
that stayed in my head. I don't know about you guys, but like the part of the only thing I remember of this movie is literally just the face. Like, how did she
Yeah.
do that for
She's great at faces.
like 5 minutes straight? It was
She's really good at faces.
insane.
Another part I remember about this movie is when a guy came into the cinema who often comes
Oh,
in.
wasn't part of the movie. You're talking about the guy, are you?
Yeah, so there's this guy, right? and he lives at the cinema, and
Mhm.
every so often we'll go into a movie and he will be there. He will he'll usually have like a newspaper or something, bottle of wine, you know how it is. He'll read his newspaper, drink his wine, and he'll sit through the movie and laugh a lot. Props to the guy. But he laughs at very strange and inopportune moments.
And a lot of the time, like says jokes again.
Yeah. He'll talk to himself. I mean, he's obviously not all there as whatever, but he came in halfway through the movie.
I thought it was way longer than that. I thought it was like 3/4 of the
Yeah,
way.
It
something
was
like
quite
that.
far in.
Yeah, it was very far
in.
in. He obviously, I don't know. I guess he hadn't paid for a ticket, like surely. He came in. I sat about 3 seats away from me. He got out his iPod, like literally an iPod, I think. No, it was his phone. It was his phone, and he started playing like dance music through like headphones, like wired headphones. that were not noise cancelling at all. I was like, what the fuck
I
is
thought he
going
was
on?
talking to you, but
Yeah.
I wasn't
No, no,
sure
no.
because I was on the other end.
I think he talked a bit when he came in,
Mm.
and then he put his headphones in, and I could hear his dance music. He was like sat 3 seats away from me in the same row as us. I just like shot him a death glare, and I think he like looked at me, and then like 10 seconds later he got up and he just left. Which, you know,
I just remember laughing because then I could hear the people behind us laughing as well because they were like,
Yeah.
what the hell was that? And I was just like, I don't know.
he's about, you know.
That's the thing. If you go to the cinema as much as we do, he's just the guy about the
Yeah.
view.
Yeah, you sort
like,
of you understand who the regulars are.
Wasn't
Yeah.
that during the really long monologue near the end?
Oh, it might have been, yeah.
I think it was. It probably broke the flow.
Yeah.
She's all like, I'm just a fucked up Texas girl or whatever. And he's like, you want to hear my club beats? Yeah, proper
Speaking of
broke
which,
it,
I think that's probably like the best bit in the movie. That monologue is insane.
It's really great, yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah,
Like,
she
proper weighted,
Really
innit?
long
Yeah.
takes as well.
She wrote it all herself as well, which I think's pretty crazy.
Oh, wow.
She's great, man. She's so great. She's
Mm.
really shooting up there. I don't know if like I would say like Oscars would not take it because it's like horror. But she's like one of the top ones for me who's like making like consistent films at the moment and like,
Yeah.
just doing. She's like up for anything it seems. But we need more people like that. I think she's really good and she carries the movie. Like if not for her, it just like wouldn't work at all. I
Yeah.
think. I'm
Need more-
excited for that like next one that's coming out, Maxine.
Yeah, I think they literally started filming it like a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
But yeah, I do think we need more actors and actresses like this who are just like taking risks, like doing the really crazy stuff,
Down
Yeah.
to
like your Daniel Radcliffe's and people like that.
Daniel
nowadays.
Radcliffe is a pioneer for
He's
this
great.
kind of shit.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't think he's ever been afraid to take on a movie, but I always thought in the beginning of Daniel Radcliffe or whatever, I always thought he was just trying to get away from doing Harry Potter.
I think he
if that
kinda
makes sense,
was.
like he didn't want to be
Yeah.
known as. He was like the Robert Pattinson, basically. You don't want to be known as just that one character that you played when you were like 15.
Yeah,
You wanna
Robert
be
Pattinson
known.
was like, I don't want to be known as Cedric Diggory from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Hell yeah.
Daniel Radcliffe now wants to be known as the farting corpse.
Yeah,
Wait,
one of those. And
he was a
Dal.
great Swiss Army man, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, you guys watched that recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Great
killed.
movie.
That broke me for some reason. There was
That's a really
absolutely
good
no
one.
reason for it. It was such a stupid movie, but it got me. It got me
Yeah,
good.
that's the Daniels, baby.
Mm.
That's those guys for
They
you.
need to stop it. They have too much
Yeah, get out of here.
power.
You've had your time. Get
too-
out.
They have
You're
too
too
much.
good.
Yeah, too much weight of knowing the right level of humor and human, and I
Mm.
don't like it.
Don't like it. You know the human condition too well. Get out of here. Stop making movies. Yeah, good movie.
Mm.
Good movie, Pearl.
Yeah.
We want to rate it.
Yeah.
Can do.
What out of?
Scarecrows.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed X, but I definitely think this was a really interesting diversion for Ty West. I think it's definitely the best film I've seen him do. Really creative, psychological horror movie. Had a great time with. Give it 8 scarecrows out of 10.
Yeah, I love the scene where she had sex with the scarecrow.
Yeah.
7 scarecrows out of 10.
Yeah, I actually found that to be. I don't know if I found that funny or cringy, but
I
I
found it both at the same time.
yeah, I don't know if that's
Quite.
possible.
Disturbing.
I thought this was quite magical. 8
Yeah.
scarecrows out of 10.
A magical movie.
A magical movie where magical people go insane.
Speaking of magical people going insane, the Karate Kid, the first 3, that's what we did. We don't cop to that Jaden Smith crap. Or the next Karate Kid,
Not
whatever
here.
that was, with fucking, Hilary Swank.
Not him.
No, not those. We did the first 3.
hmm
John G. Avildsen's 3 Karate Kid
Yeah.
first ones.
Director of Rocky.
Director of Rocky and the
Rocky
Karate
5.
Kid Part
And
3.
very evidently so.
Take it away, Chris.
Yeah, so the first one, The Karate Kid from, I think it's 1984.
Yeah.
He's not. Look, he's not even getting his. He's not even
No.
getting. He doesn't need a phone
He
for
knows.
this.
He already
He's-
knows.
Got it
Go
all
on.
memorized.
Go on then.
The film's about a kid called Daniel who moves to California from New Jersey. While he's there, he gets bullied pretty horrifically by these kids who are like, one of them is like the ex of this girl that he's trying to get with. He befriends the janitor of their or the maintenance man, the apartment complex they're in, Mr. Miyagi, and he agrees to teach him karate to defeat these geezers.
The Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
The friggin' motorcycle pussy squad.
Yeah, man. Everyone knows about Karate Kid. He's a kid and he does karate, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Does the crane kick.
Yes,
does, yeah.
that he does.
The famous one from Kung Fu Panda. He got it all from them. Not seen these before.
hmm
But you know what? Had a pretty good time. As marathons go, it's not the worst we've ever done. It's
No.
actually pretty good.
Definitely
overall.
not the worst.
It
is
was a surprise because
Yeah.
I think we all went into it like fucking Karate Kid. Can't be bothered.
We're
But-
so depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it kind of was.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, about like a quarter. It didn't even take me that long to warm up to this movie. I think it was like 20 minutes in. I was like, actually, this film's kind of
It's kind of sick.
Kind of,
Yeah.
'cause
Think about
it's proper dated and cheesy, and I was like, I love this.
yeah. I think it took about 5-10 minutes for me where I was like, you know what, I'm actually having a really good time.
Oh yeah, I was
Mhm.
enjoying it. Should I say I hate to say it? No, I won't.
I think
I hate
about
to
had a
say
good
it, but I
time.
like this
Yeah.
one.
I think about half an hour into the movie, because I was like adamant I've never seen this movie before, but about half an hour in, I was like, I've at least seen part of this movie because all of this stuff that's happening I remember vividly.
hmm
I definitely remember the wax on, wax off scene.
Yeah, well, that's iconic. Everyone
Yeah,
knows that.
yeah. I don't know whether that then means I've just seen the infamous scene or
Probably.
that
I
I've
know
seen the
everything
movie.
that happened in this movie because I watched the Community episode where Ken Jeong plays Mr. Miyagi in a play that they do in that show. And
To be fair,
I was like, oh, this is like that episode of Community.
that's the first thing you said.
That's
I
a
mean,
good
that show
episode.
slaps, so it's
That's a
fine.
good- That's a good episode. Yeah.
There are worse ways to learn about Karate Kid, I would say.
The worst thing would be if I saw that and I was like, this Karate Kid is not as good as that episode.
I mean, but it is Community, so
Yeah. But hey, man, I had a good time with it. I like Daniel. He was a G, and he had the potential to be kind of annoying, or like
Yeah,
the
I
movie
thought-
had the potential to be very annoying.
I thought
'Cause
it was
it's like
gonna
this
be.
kid, this child, and it's set in like a school. The bully
And he
characters
was
are
moaning
very
a lot.
yeah. He
towards-
moaned a lot.
yeah.
Bully characters. I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, they were just like bullies. Like,
What
as
bully
about as one
characters?
dimension as that. He's like, I
Daniel
gotta run
was
away.
like, also quite cocky. He's like very like up himself. I think when talking to like women, he's very
Mhm.
confident.
I'm
but
sorry,
in a
he's
way
got
that could,
Riz. What do you
Yeah,
expect?
Yeah, God,
in a way that I feel like other actors could probably make quite annoying.
yeah.
Mm.
And there's something about him where the charm, although you can kind of see through it, is also kind of infectious.
I think it's the same gene that allowed him to look 12 when he was 23.
Yeah.
It's Ralph Macchio, baby.
I can't
He's
believe
got
it.
it.
Like Chris, halfway through the film, was like just looking him up, and he was like looking up photos from last year, and I was like, he is 60, but he looks 40. I've
Not
never
even
seen
sure
a
I'd
man
go that far.
not
He's,
age.
like even younger than that.
He looks so
he looks
young.
younger than me at the moment.
It was mad.
Yeah, he's crazy, man. He's the Karate Kid.
That's why he was the chosen one.
Yeah, couldn't imagine anybody else playing this guy.
Yeah, no, I
he
actually
brings
quite
the
enjoyed him.
gravitas. He brings the
Yeah.
panache.
He brings the charm and wit.
Get out of here, Jaden Smith. You couldn't touch old Macchio.
Yeah, have you
couldn't-
seen
couldn't-
After Earth? He couldn't touch a candle.
Couldn't even try, baby.
Mm.
No, I remember him actually being really annoying now on Jaden Smith.
What?
But,
Oh,
yeah.
I don't think I've seen it purely.
I watched the
Out
trailer
principle.
on the Netflix that just comes up on
Was
the
it bad?
on the Netflix. Yes, on the Netflix. I saw the moving pictures of the
the
trailer
TV.
for Karate Kid, the remake, and it just looked right like bad.
Yeah.
Straight up. You know when you like see something and you're like, yeah, that's gonna be bad. That was like one of those.
Yeah.
And fucking
No
Jackie
way.
Chan is in it.
See,
Like, come on, man.
don't you
He
think
even
it's-
called it kung fu.
Don't you
It's
think
like,
it's
what?
kind of criminal that they got a Chinese man to? I was saying this to Chris. I was like, they got this Chinese man to play this. Okay, granted, he's technically not Japanese, but is Japanese. If we're gonna get there, and I was like, oh, what? And then Chris just says something like, oh, people will just be like, oh, he's an Asian guy,
Who?
so it won't matter. Jackie
Oh
Chan,
right.
because obviously he's not the right kind of.
He's not the right kind of Asian.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
just thought it was a really odd choice. 'Cause I was like, oh, what? Because he just happens to be a famous Asian actor. They went, that would do.
Yeah.
That's why they got to
Yeah.
talk about kung fu instead of karate, because it
But you
seems
got
more
who you got in this
accurate.
one? Pat Morita. What's his actual name?
I think Pat's his middle name, isn't
Noriyuki.
it?
I think
yeah.
it's Noriyuki Pat Morita. He's really good as Mr. Miyagi.
He's great.
Yeah,
He's
nominated for an Oscar.
Good.
fun. Oh, he
Good.
was fun. I liked
It's an
it.
iconic character. It's,
Yeah.
it's like such a
So
brilliant performance.
iconic that there was a bar named after him.
Yeah, yeah. We had the Mr. Miyagi bar around our end not so long ago, but they decided that was a bit too racist, and they changed it to a less racist name.
Doubled down on their less racist name. I guess only one from
Shout out
around the
Tokyo
end.
Joe's. Sponsor us. But yeah, he's great, man. I loved him a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved the dynamic throughout pretty much all of these movies. I really
Yeah.
liked the dynamic between Ralph Macchio and Marita. I think they bounce off of each other very well. It's very hard to get that kind of a dynamic with like a child or like an older actor.
Yeah, it felt
I think.
natural. Like the chemistry
Yeah.
was just there.
Yeah, you can tell they're like friends and that they
Mhm.
like do love and
Yeah, they must have
care
enjoyed
about each
it,
other.
Yeah.
I like this insistence that karate was not supposed to be used as a form of fighting, and it was more like something to use as like meditation or only in defense. And he kind of showed that through like just the way he just cut trees in it. It's like bonsai trees in his little cupboard, and that's basically all he would do. And he would only bring out the karate for like dire needs. But that's like a big through line throughout this whole thing. I think the whole series, where it's like it's not about like fighting, and the
Yeah.
Cobra Kai are like it's about fighting. God damn it!
Mhm.
But they've forgotten the essence of karate and what makes it sacred.
It was the heart of karate.
Yeah.
They have no heart.
They've taken away the soul, baby.
They did. They really did. And they all look like wankers. The lot of them.
Yeah, you got that like main like guy from Cobra Kai who's like
Yeah.
his like
Gianni.
girlfriend's ex who looks a bit like Logan Paul.
He actually looks
Mhm.
a lot like Logan Paul, which is kind of scary, to be honest.
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
I just
But it
found.
makes him like instantly dislikable.
Yeah,
You just look
it's-
at his face and you're like, oh, this guy. Oh, God.
He has like the cringe chemistry, which I'm not sure if it was intentional or like
Yeah, maybe.
I
It's maybe
don't
like
know.
also like a staple of 80s movies.
it kind of
To
is,
be
isn't
like,
it?
yeah,
A bit cringe.
Especially with like you know the way they it kind of reminded me a bit like you know when in Greece when they're all like in the varsities and they're all like
Mm.
what's up swinging cat blah, 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 and all this kind of shit, and I'm like, ugh, this is horrible. And I don't know, I
That's
found
so
all
like Greece's thing though, isn't it?
Yeah,
I just
That's
found them
so
all
what
kind
that's
of
about.
cringe, like these
Yeah.
guys on the motorcycles thinking that they're really cool with like their quiffs and shit, and I was
Yeah,
like, you look
it's
like
so
a
lame,
dick.
mate.
Yeah, it's
It's so
lame.
lame.
That's it.
Yeah.
I hated it, but it did. Yeah, it added to the like 80s cheese. Like I was living for it. Like Daniel's coming out here wearing his. Even though I said, "Oh, honey, no, what you doing?" Because he comes out wearing those khaki bottoms, but he's wearing like a plaid shirt on the top, and the patterns are just disgustingly unmatched.
Yeah, drip.
Yeah, and I was like, "This man's
Pure
got
drip.
Riz. He has Riz because he's dressing like an absolute knob."
A fucking nutter, mate. Yeah. I love how they just had like no reason to pick on him, like whatsoever.
Yeah, they really didn't. They were, like he didn't
Put
like.
every opportunity, they're like, "There's that kid, kill him!"
No, but I think
they wanted to kill
it
him.
was
they
literally
only-
just because he was like
dating
trying
his.
to
Yeah.
Yeah.
bang his ex.
That was it. That was the only reason they didn't like him because they never ever had any reason to like bully him, really, did they? And they were like,
No.
"Oh, he's moving on my girl."
Yeah, and like at the end, they all like kind of have respect for him.
Because he didn't do anything. He's just living his life.
Yeah,
Like,
he didn't do anything.
that's why I thought they were so like cringe. Because I just thought, okay, I get why the main guy doesn't like him, but the others are just like, "Yeah, Johnny man, I'll punch him in the face for you. I love you, Johnny."
See that
So
teacher
weird.
who's like also just cringe to the max, you know? And it's like teaching them karate, and they do those like
Oh, what, the Cobra Kai?
those,
guy?
sort of like shouting.
Yeah, he was,
techniques
like,
to
proper
do them
angry.
in like different positions. It's like, but he would shout like, usually they go like, "Huh! Hiya! Hiya!" But his was like, I kill, and they would like do different poses, and I'm like, oh, this is so lame. How do they not know how lame it is? It was like a cult.
Yeah, it was
like on the
weird.
outside, you know it's a cult, but they didn't know it was a cult. These little boys.
To be fair, it was. The thing is, I feel like you as like a viewer kind of understand that instantly, because you know
Yeah.
when Daniel comes in to see the class for the first time, and even he just backs out the school, and
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, back out.
Like,
It's-
oh, this is a bit cringe.
It was just weird.
They know the old even this movie knew the old Spider-Man line of, with great power comes great responsibility.
Mhm.
And they decided that they had the power, but they would do whatever they wanted with it, and they could kill him if they wanted to.
Irresponsible.
And just as soon as they saw him, they were like, all right, it's karate time. Let's destroy him for no reason.
Yeah, it's so
Just like a
random as
child.
well.
Something I really appreciate the movie is it like how it kind of takes its time, like developing everything. So I feel like a lot of kind of similar movies from this era would just kind of focus entirely on like all the karate and the fighting and everything, but they actually like take their time to develop the motivations of the characters and develop the characters.
Mhm.
And I think it works in its favor. It's like 2 hours long, but I don't feel like it ever feels like it's just filler. Everything feels quite necessary.
Mm.
No, because you've got to get to the crux of why Daniel and Mr. Miyagi are so good together.
Okay, what does that mean? What is the crux of why they're so good together?
Because he teaches him the soul and the essence of not using power for revenge. It's within him to be zen.
Teaching him karate through the use of just different movements that could be achieved through the painting of a fence or the scrubbing of a car.
I mean, I
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of
that's
like
right.
viewed it as like a lot of it comes from the fact that he lost a son, and he probably views Daniel as kind of like almost like his new adopted son.
All right, we could go there.
Yeah, hard scene.
Yeah.
Hard scene when he admits
Actually,
all
no,
that.
that was so sad.
Yeah,
But I found it really
heartbreaking.
funny because I had seen the Community episode.
This is it, right? Like, I was like, oh, that's so sad. And Max is laughing. He's like,
Yeah.
no, Community did
Yeah.
this. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I was like on the verge of crying, and Max,
Max is
like,
just
sat there
howling in the
laughing.
corner. It was really
Oh,
sad.
sorry. Yeah, it is sad. Oh, dear.
It did. Was I the only thought it was a little bit out of nowhere though? Like he's just kind of, well, not out of nowhere, but Daniel just comes in one day and he's just drinking like sake wine or whatever, and he's like,
Yeah, because he didn't
singing.
expect him, did he?
Oh, I guess so.
All the other
Yeah,
times
nah,
he was
that's
like
probably
either
right.
chopping his trees or he expected
Sort
him
of
to come
probably
around. He
right.
wasn't going to get drunk and start singing a song.
Yeah, I mean, granted, they don't really build up to it at all. They don't really ever like hint at it or anything. But I think before that, he is quite like a private, secretive guy. You don't really know anything about him. So I think the way they kind of just suddenly drop it in, it makes sense.
It's still sad. I don't know. That whole scene's just like, I don't know. Like you kind of go in thinking Karate Kid, gonna be dumb, cheesy fun.
Which it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it hits you with a little bit of human feeling.
Yeah, apparently the studio wanted to cut that scene out, but the director was adamant on it. He was like, the whole movie, like, this is like,
Yeah.
the movie doesn't work without this scene.
No, it doesn't.
Aw, yeah, I think without
And I
it,
think that is
probably
true.
would've been
It does add a lot of heart to it.
Mhm.
Adds a bit more meaning to it, I suppose, doesn't it?
It doesn't. It stops the characters from being one-dimensional. And you actually want to get invested in them. I don't
Yeah.
like when movies decide they'll cut out like expositional scenes as if it's like, Yeah, these people don't want to see like talking. They want to see the action. I was like, well, yeah, but without that, you don't have a story, do you? Or you don't
Yeah, we're
have
just
like
watching scenes.
interesting
yeah.
characters to watch. You're just watching them fight, and that gets boring.
Yeah, because if you're going to do that, you could just Google best fighting bits of Karate Kid and watch a
Yeah.
compilation or something. Like, you don't need to watch the
Yeah,
movie.
without all that stuff as well, you don't really connect with it. You don't feel like the weight of the stakes. It doesn't. The final like sequence doesn't
Yeah, you
really
can't
hit
really
as hard.
like them either, can you? There's no... Yeah, there's
When
no
he,
character
like-
to go off of.
When he wins at the end, you don't really feel anything if you've not had this like been on this like emotional journey with the character.
Mm.
No, for sure. I don't know, like what. Yeah, he was kind of a dick, though. Like
Who was
the
it? then?
Karate Kid, like Daniel, because he was like always. He was always like trying to come on to this girl, and he knew that like the reason he was getting his ass handed to him was basically because he was going after her. But then like he does like a bunch of like a succession of a few shitty things to her, and then like he doesn't apologize. And he just like hugs her from behind.
Oh
like,
my
at the
god, was that
end.
in this film? That
And
was
he's like,
absolutely
you know
horrendous.
what? I'm a jerk. So am I forgiven? And then I got a car. I got a new car.
Yeah, that was absolutely horrific. Because I thought I missed it. I was like, oh, has he said sorry then? And Boshi just went, no.
No, he didn't, no.
I thought, what?
Like, damn, clearly it pays to be friends with your
Yeah.
character. You just gave him a car. Taught him the ways of karate.
I loved that. It was like gift number 2, and we were like, no. A
Yeah,
car?
come on, man. He's a little boy.
Yeah.
He's just learnt to drive.
I hate movies where like just like kids are giving cars.
Also,
I hate it when movies do that. It's like, what the fuck? These people have never worked in their lives. You're just gonna give them a car, and
yeah, that is
do you know how
true.
much that costs? Yeah, that's something that
Yeah.
only happens in the movies.
In American
But it's
movies
also
especially.
I have seen it happen in real life.
I just found it quite comical that his driving license was clearly not real. Like, he basically got out what looked like an Asda shopping voucher and just went, look at this license, and it's like flopping all over
Maybe
the
that's what
air
they were
and
like
shit.
back then.
Must have been.
But-
Yeah. That's just what American licenses look like.
It looked like if it got wet in the rain, he'd
would
lose his,
disintegrate.
he'd lose his
Probably, yeah.
license.
Yeah.
It was madness.
Do you think there's like a little bit of an interesting, like almost like class divide subtext in some of the movie?
Oh, what? Because it's
Like-
Galdem's like High School Musical levels of rich.
Yeah, and
Like,
he's
we go
like
to the country
the
house.
complete opposite. He's like
Mm.
kind of poor. He like gets to
I don't think he's
their
poor.
like house,
No,
like
they were poor.
yeah,
Literally made a point of them saying, yeah, we're poor.
yeah.
They just- I don't know. He
He goes to pick her up from her parents' house, and like you can tell there's like some like tension between them
Mhm.
because they're
You have to like
rich.
get out of the
and
car
he's
and like
not.
push it to make it go.
Yeah,
Well, not everyone can live off of mummy and daddy's money.
Well, exactly.
What can you do, man? What can you do? Learn to graft, baby. Learn to graft.
Yeah, then you'll be okay.
Well, I'm not talking about Daniel because he could at least, have manners. Sorry as free, bitch.
But hey, he did graft. And now he's a kung fu karate master.
He is, because he apparently learnt the soul of karate, but not the meaning of the word sorry.
No,
he,
it's true.
He inferred it.
It was the hug
Yeah. It
and
was
the
him.
tiptoe. Oh
taking
my
her
god,
in
the
his car.
tiptoeing.
Oh yeah, God.
I was
Yeah.
I was a little bit thrown off by the whole
Yeah, to
image
go
on
on
the
his
screen. I was
toes
like,
to
what
kiss
is he
her.
doing?
Yeah,
It's really weird.
because he's so small.
It was quite funny.
Yeah. Oh,
Ah,
that's good.
what a movie.
I thought it could have been paced better, like for my own personal preferences, because it did feel like it dragged on a little bit. But overall, I thought it was pretty solid.
Mhm.
And not one. Yeah, and I was kind of trepidatious about it. I was like, oh God, Karate Kid.
Well, we
It's
all
just that
were, let's be
name.
honest.
It's like crying out loud. The Karate Kid.
yeah.
But it's all right, and it has those scenes in it that make you more invested in the characters, and the fighting, it's there and it's pretty good for the most part. But it's not like John Wick levels
No,
of
of
goodness, but it services the plot enough. So
I think it'd
I
be a
did
little bit
enjoy it for
unfair to compare it to.
oh yeah, I mean,
It's just kind
come
of
a long way.
standard karate,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I think it's kind of supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. I thought the score was to talk about the music was a bit strange, or I guess it was trying to go for more like karate culture type stuff. Or
Yeah.
that sort of Asian vibe to it. So it had a lot of like pan flute. But I was just thinking about like Picnic at Hanging Rock the whole time.
Yeah, I think it worked
yeah,
when it was
yeah.
like going for that kind of thing, but too much of it was going for more of like the really cheesy like 80s sort of shit, and I think that really dated the movie.
80s montage,
Yeah, like
baby.
all the Simpson, like there's that date montage where it's like a montage of
I loved it because me and Chris both wrote a note, and his said date montage, and mine said montage with like 5 exclamation points.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The final like sequence where he's like going through the tournament and plays that song "You're the Best."
God, yeah.
Or like the actual ending of the movie where it freeze frames on Mr. Miyagi nodding, which I actually thought was
God,
great.
That's so good.
It just felt like if the 80s was encapsulated in its stereotypical form into one movie, it would be The Karate Kid.
Yeah.
It is literally everything.
I did have like a big like Mandela effect thing with this because I was convinced that song "Kung Fu Fighting" was like written for this film,
Guess not.
but it wasn't even in the movie. It's like
Well,
no.
it couldn't be
10
Kung
years
Fu
old when the
Fighting,
movie
could it?
came out.
It can be in the Jackie Chan one.
I think it actually
Yeah.
was. I think that's why I'm thinking it.
There we go. Because apparently he's not actually teaching Jaden Smith karate in that one. It's Kung Fu.
Yeah.
It's quite strange. Could have been called the Kung Fu Kid. Would have worked.
Yeah,
The
that would have
alliteration's
so
still
much. Yeah, it would have made so much more sense as well. Like in actuality, you don't go to the Karate Kid and then the whole film be about Kung Fu, a different sport entirely.
Kung Fu Kid sounds too silly.
And the Karate Kid doesn't.
yeah.
The Karate Kid only doesn't sound as silly as the Kung Fu Kid because the Karate Kid came first.
Yeah.
It's still a stupid name.
That is true. Yeah, that's not really a winning argument, Chris. In fact, I'm actually more sad having heard it.
Although I do like that fight at the end that they have. It racks up the tension.
Yeah,
a lot.
that's golden.
Yeah.
And you see that Cobra Kai got sort of cheating and breaking his leg. It's like, oh fuck, oh god.
Oh,
You
I
feel
like
it.
I like that evil kid in the corner who was like, "Put him in a body bag, yeah."
Put him in a body bag.
And in every single movie, they recapped it and they had that line in it, and I was just like, "This is amazing."
That's the one thing this movie doesn't have. The others shouldn't
Yeah,
have
Back
also.
to the Future.
It's just fucking Back to the Future-esque recaps of what the last movie was.
It felt very unnecessary, but we also did watch some back.
It's not even what the last movie was. They're both like the first movie again.
Oh my god, yeah, they don't even go into like the other movie.
Yeah, you know what happened in the second one. It's obvious. You like when it was like Daniel's birthday, and he was like, "Oh, I can't stay long, Mr. Miyagi. I've got to go see my mum. It's my birthday." And then Miyagi gives him a car, and he just drives to the fun fair and doesn't see his mum.
Do we even see his
Forgot
mum
about
again?
it.
Because I don't remember seeing his mum
He
ever
was like
again.
there right at the end
Yeah,
of
she
the
did
tournament. I guess he just didn't care.
I liked that Mr. Miyagi wore a suit. I thought that was quite cute.
Well,
It's
he's
a cool
got-
suit.
Yeah, he's got to look his
It was a cool suit.
Sunday best, man.
He wore it again in the last one.
Yeah. He's
It
a
was a
sick guy.
parallel.
I love that guy. He's the best part about it.
Here's
Yeah.
the best part about it by far.
Should we get on to ratings?
Yeah.
It's getting on.
Uh,
What are we going to rate this one out of? Do it out of Miyagi's shout out to Marita?
Yeah. I had a really good time with this. Wasn't expecting to, but yeah. Great movie. A lot of fun. Definitely quite cheesy and dated, but I think it works still. I give it 8 Miyagis out of 10.
Nice. Yeah, it is good. It's a really good movie. Very fun. And yeah, I'm glad to have enjoyed it as much as I was kind of dreading watching it beforehand. But yeah, I had a good time with it. I'd probably give it, let's say 7 Miyagis out of 10 for now. But I would watch it again.
Yeah, I think I'd watch it again. I actually really did have some fun with this. I feel like if I speak very slowly, Chris will come back in time, but I'm not.
It's fun. It's the power of editing, baby.
I'm gonna do 7.5 Miyagis out of 10.
Ooh.
I
Really
know. I
being
like.
the
I like.
centrist here.
I do like doing the
Oh.
0.5.
Is that what you do? Like we say our scores, and you're like,
Mhm.
what's like sort of dead center?
No,
How do I become as uncontroversial as possible?
I feel like this with a lot of movies though, but obviously, like when we're rating them on Letterboxd and stuff, I can't actually do a half point
No.
So I then have to write. I go in the tags and then I write the point half of whatever
Yeah,
thing I've rated it on.
suppose so.
Because 7 is like, yeah, because you can only do what 5, 7, and 9. And what if I want in between 5, 7, and 9?
What? 5, 7, and 9. What if you want to do like 8?
No, like
That's
you
in
could do
between.
8 with the stars, but you can't do 7.5 or 5.5 or
No.
so,
Sure.
that kind of thing. So yeah, I write it in the tags, but 7.5 is a good set point. Because I didn't think it was an 8, but I also thought it was a bit better than a 7. You see, I'm a
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
cool.
Might as well do percentages.
Oh, what? Oh,
Rate out of 100, like some people do on Letterboxd.
Oh god, yeah.
I find that quite insufferable, but only because, right, at least if I'm doing it in halves, I'm doing it in halves, right? But there's people on there who will be like 72.5%, and I'm like, how did you get to that?
Yes. Oh my God.
What
Yeah,
is your
exactly.
criteria
It's
to get to this level? Because I'm
People's
actually,
minds, I don't understand them.
I know, I'm actually confused.
It's crazy stuff. Like, who has the time?
Yeah, what
Who's
kind of
that
algorithm are you working on?
Start at 50 and add a point for everything you like and take a point away for everything you don't like.
That's too much.
Do people
effort.
actually do that?
I think that is what a lot of those
Oh
people do.
god. Imagine they've got like a notepad while they're watching it, just making tallies.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that
didn't
sounds
like that.
exhausting. I like my half review. I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah. Karate Kid Part 2, directed
Yes.
by John G. Avildsen. Again, it came out in the year of our Lord 1986, and
Our
it
Lord
stars
1986.
same people, and it's about Mr. Miyagi this time, and he's got to go back to Japan, Okinawa, which is an island off of Japan, but also in Japan, as I found out, because his father is sick, and he's got to go see him, and he had a friend there, an old friend, I think, who was sort of like his brother, but not really, who his father trained, and he trained him too, but he was like, this guy is one of the good ones, so I'm going to train him even though he's not my son. And they go back, and there's a lot of tension between the two about Miyagi's father and just like watching him die. Yeah, it's also about this village as well, and it's sort of like being torn apart. And the guy, what's his face? His name here? No, I don't. It was Say So. That's what it was. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna tear this place apart, man. And he's like, don't do that, because there are people here. And it's about them like duking it out and kind of being like, I'm gonna fight you, and the other one being like, you don't have the fucking guts, man. And it's just, yes, the anticipation of like what's gonna happen. How's it all gonna come to a head? And also Daniel is there because he comes as well. What do we think of Karate Kid number Part 2?
Yeah, it was pretty decent.
Yeah.
It was definitely a lot better than I was expecting, like the first one again. You can tell they're actually trying to do something a bit different. You can tell it's not just... I mean, they definitely didn't plan it beforehand, but it doesn't feel like an afterthought in a way.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like, oh shit, that one made money, let's just throw together something else. It feels like some actual care and attention's been put into it.
Yeah, they tried at least. I mean, it was like the Wolverine. It was like when Hugh Jackman goes to Japan and he gets his immortality taken away from him, and he's got to fucking fight tooth and nail to get his immortality back. That's what I was thinking about the inside side. I was like, oh man, that's a great movie.
I do think they kind of uncanonized Miyagi's like backstory a little bit though.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think him, because the whole film, he's got like this love interest who was like his long lost love that he left. He was meant to, he wanted to get with or something, and he left.
He wanted to marry her, and then she was supposed to marry the richest man in the village because her family were poor and they
Yeah.
were rich. And then he was like, I love you, Yuki, let's get together. And she's like, oh, I love you as well, but like my man wants to declare like battle arena style shit. And then he went, I do not fight. And then he left. So he decides to move to
Yeah.
America for some reason.
But it kind of does go back on the last movie where he's
Yeah,
like,
completely. What makes no sense?
the love of his life has died
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
that one, whereas in this one, it's like the love of his life he lost.
Yeah, so yeah, there's that. But whatever. because this movie's fucking awesome. It slaps. Had a really good time with it. Whatever, it takes place in an alternate reality. I don't really give a fuck about the continuity of these movies. Like, it's not really what's on my mind. Just like seeing him go to Okinawa and just do what he's sort of about, and it's like about just being nice to each other.
It was very pretty. Well, if it was, the more I think about it, the more I think that it wasn't actually ever filmed anywhere near Japan, and the reason
it's filmed in Hawaii.
Yeah. So there we go.
Well, Hawaii's pretty then. If I'm gonna give a place edges,
But they picked it because it's like the closest like place they could find to Japan that wasn't Japan.
Like,
yeah, and you know, Pearl Harbor happened there. So
yeah, has a lot of Japanese residents living there as well.
I guess I only say that because in the last movie there are some very CGI-esque things that happen, and I kind of felt like that in this one as well. Like, things didn't necessarily look like an actual set, more like they just built something around something. So I was like, oh, I don't know if it's actually set in this place or whether, and it's not, but that doesn't really matter, but because it was pretty anyway. But yeah, you know, like,
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
I don't know if I was really paying attention to that. I don't know, it was definitely more noticeable in the third one. In terms of like green screening and CG.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was something that I just heavily took notice on because to me it seemed like, I don't know whether it was like the film they used or what, but I don't know. Yeah, something just didn't look right about it, and I was like, okay, there's something noticeable here, but maybe that's just because I was spending too much time noticing that rather than paying attention to the uncanonized story that was going on.
Perhaps. I have like a soft spot for like movies that go into like, here's a place that you went or like you were from, and then you go back and it's just not the same, and like it's changed because of influences from the world or like different occupations of like the military coming, the American military coming in and kind of destroying the place. That's kind of why I like a movie like Summer Hours, where it's all about that, or like how it changes like a childhood home and over time, and how you can't really hold on to it bar in your memories, and it's like this ever-changing shift of how the world changes over a lifetime. And to see Miyagi go back and he's like, it's like desolate and like not, like people aren't really happy or thriving. There is like a military occupation of his town, which clearly wasn't there. He was like, oh, I don't remember it being so loud because they've got all the helicopters in there. I just find all that like that kind of thing in movies very sad, and like it resonates with me a lot.
I think it's quite interesting in this one how it's almost like Daniel and Miyagi's roles are reversed in a way. Like in the last one, it's like Miyagi is the strong, wise like teacher, and Daniel's like kind of the weaker one. Whereas this one, I wouldn't say he's like Miyagi's the weaker one, but there's definitely a lot of points in it where Daniel's being the strong one, especially like that. There's a great scene where Miyagi's dad dies, and they're like sat
on a rock,
together, and Daniel goes over and like tells a story about when his dad dies, and they connect in a way. I think all that stuff's really nice.
Yeah, it's like Miyagi has to face more.
Yeah,
he has to overcome a lot more in this because he's in his own hometown sort of place. So it's, I see why the roles were reversed, and it's probably like the best way they could have done the sequel to The Karate Kid, where it was all about Daniel in the first one sort of being in this new environment, but sort of understanding how the mechanics of like high school works, but being that contention rises where like he's not getting on with the people there, or like they're trying to basically assassinate him in that first movie. It's kind of juxtaposed almost like sort of thematically exactly the same way, just like the roles were reversed in this one.
Yeah, I think it works really well.
It does. And I was like, we started each of these movies and we're like, all right, this is where it goes downhill.
Well, it's basically what we said after the first one. We went, it was all downhill from here.
Yeah, I know. It was like Chris said he was like tearing up in the Karate Kid. I was sort of tearing up in this. The end more so when it was more about like the these sort of brotherly characters trying to come together and reach some sort of a compromise, because they decided that it wasn't really important, and that the grudges that they bore throughout like these decades, it didn't really amount to anything except just like harboring hatred, and it's not really a productive way to get on when you're in your life. And I know they said that in Japan, like a grudge, it has to last forever, but yeah, I think they made do with like trying to overcome that in this really great kind of arc for both of them, I guess. Well, like the village is kind of being destroyed by this storm, and they were like, yeah, this kind of like our problems pale in comparison to this. It's like we should be out here helping other people and not feuding with each other, because it really doesn't amount to anything.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look, mate. No, it's not.
Yeah, I think it helps. There's that like bit when that storm's going on where he like tells like one of his like his goons
nephew. Wasn't it his nephew?
Go save someone, and he's like, no,
Yeah,
then that helps.
It sort of backs out.
Yeah, to be fair, he was a bit of a pussy for someone who was trying to beat up everyone in the whole movie.
Yeah, he sort of
Just to fall.
he was handed his redemption, but he didn't want to take it.
Yeah.
And
I think
then,
in that point he realises what his influence has actually been on people and what he actually has become, where he's not maybe who he wants to be. He's just like a violent man now.
Yeah. It was like if the leader of the Cobra Kai had learned any lesson in the first movie.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
well, maybe we'll never know, because that freeze frame really stopped the test of time.
That was so sick. Like at the beginning of this movie, it like takes off immediately from where the first movie ends.
Yeah, that was quite
And
interesting.
like the leader of the Cobra Kai is like beating up the Logan Paul character from the first movie.
Yeah, that felt quite mean,
And
actually.
Miyagi,
Very
like,
mean.
Kind of takes him out without even touching him. He like just punches through. He's like trying to punch him, but he like leans away and he punches through like a car window both times.
And then
It's
bonks
like,
him on the
oh
nose.
man, so sick.
Yeah, apparently they wrote that for the first movie, but it got cut because of time and budget constraints. They just were like, fuck it, let's put it in this one.
Yeah,
That's right. It
I
kind of
like
works, though. It kind of it had that way. It kind of stitched in a strange and pleasant kind of way. Because you feel that could have been quite janky, but it was good. Like,
yeah, it was like pushing like this kind of need to not fight, and that karate wasn't supposed to be used for fighting, which they did. It was like only in defense in the first movie. That's sort of what Daniel's arc was, to try and learn what karate is, more so than how to use karate to get revenge. And there's a strong element of revenge in this movie, but that they ultimately overcome because of karate and the ways of karate.
yeah, the soul of karate comes back to join Japan once more.
Yeah.
I love that scene where they go to like town, and Daniel's like got his girlfriend and who he meets there, and he like goes into this bar and they're like smashing through ice. It was like such a good scene where he just like slices through 6 pillars of ice with his hand. It's awesome. So many scenes like that where I'm like, oh, that was sick. That was so cool.
Did I fall asleep? I don't remember this.
Maybe.
Well, you don't. What the hell? That was
I
such a
actually
good
don't
scene.
remember.
That was a good scene.
That was a great scene. That what was also a good scene was when she taught him the Oban dance, where I felt like it was likening karate to interpretive dance in that way.
Yeah.
And saying like, use it for fighting, but I can use the same sort of methods and moves to create something that's more artful in terms of like creating a dance. It's sort of like karate in a way, but I think a lot of people more equate karate to like combat.
Well, she was doing the drum technique.
Mm-hmm. She was doing the drum technique.
She was doing the drum.
I do think this film like does focus a lot more on that side of karate than the fighting side, which the first one kind of like has a really good balance of the two. I think this one kind of leans more away from the fighting, but I think that's probably a good thing. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people are quite mixed on the film because of that, because it doesn't have any fighting really.
Yeah.
Well, the whole end segment is just Daniel trying to blast out
Oh,
some
God.
geezer who wants to cut this girl's throat
Yeah,
open.
oh damn, and that was so brutal.
Like,
the whole time. I was
what
like,
are you
oh my god.
What are you talking about?
That's what I love about
Letterboxd?
this movie as well, is that
Yeah.
the stakes are so much higher. In the first movie, it's like all about
You'll get
winning a
beaten up,
competition.
yeah.
I want to win the karate competition. And there's only so far you can take a plot like that. We've seen a million of those. But in here, it's like people could die, and you really feel it. That tension rack up, and the stakes are a lot higher, and you feel it.
Yeah, especially
so when he's like
Miyagi
beating the
says
shit out of that guy, or like the other guy's beating the shit out of him, or like when he smacks about his girl, you feel it, man.
Smacks
It's
about
like,
his
oh
girl.
man, this could end terribly. And Miyagi even says, he's like, you know, it's not the karate, it's not like the championship anymore. This is real life. You could die.
Yeah, he's
Um,
like, this is for real. And I'm like, oh, did you feel that, Daniel? That's the sound of your life running out, bruv.
He's like, oh, I can't do it. He's so much stronger than me. I love his line saying, it doesn't matter who's stronger, matters who's smarter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it comes down to, is like the idea of using an opponent's sort of strengths or weaknesses against them and trying to come out on top because of how you think about a situation and not because of how you use your fists to solve things. Ooh, sip of Coke.
Well, that actually sounded really dirty.
I think the point that like almost made me cry was when like the storm was happening and
Right.
Miyagi has to make the decision to save Sato because he had
Yeah.
like that whole house collapse on him. He was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
get out of here, Miyagi, you goddamn buffoon, you idiot, I hate you, I will always hate you. And then like gets him out eventually, like chops the wood in half, which Sato was trying to do before. That was awesome. And he like pulls him out. He says, something, he was like, easy, Sato, I got you, old friend. And I was like, oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Like none of it mattered, you know, the
Mm.
feuding, it amounted to nothing in the end.
Yeah, but I feel like it kind of shows Miyagi's character though, because
Yeah,
he
definitely.
he obviously didn't want to fight in the first place. So
No,
now he
yeah.
has the opportunity to let this man die, and he's like, "Why would I do that? I didn't want to do anything with him in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want him to die."
He's a good man.
Yeah, he's like got the heart of gold.
What I wish they would have incorporated a bit more was like, I thought they were setting up a through line with this one scene where Daniel's trying to dodge this like crane thing that like swoops down
Yeah,
from the sky, and he's got to
and it
dodge
never
it
comes
with
up
this like
again.
massive spike. I thought he would have to do something with that later on, but that doesn't really come to anything. in the
No,
end.
I think that just built up the drum thing that they kind of go in and out of in this
Mhm.
film. I felt that's what that was about.
That's
rather
what he
than-
should have learned. Yeah. It's like, oh, I couldn't do it because I was thinking about karate, and then he meets this girl,
Who
Kumiko, who like
Yeah.
shows him how to do the Oban dance, and then he learns how to use karate in a different way because of that, and he defeats the blade. That would have been cool, but I guess they didn't go for that.
That's
Shame,
alright,
really.
it's whatever.
But yeah, whatever.
Something I do really like about this one is actually the music.
Mm.
I think it also kind of goes for the like sort of Asian sound the first one goes for, and like the 80s synth sort of thing. But I think the blending of it like works a lot better than this. It feels a lot more natural. Doesn't feel quite as silly and cheesy as it did in that one.
Yeah, Asian sound.
Silly and cheesy
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it fits the setting a bit more in this one as well. But yeah, I just had a really good time with it, and I only learned like afterwards that it was quite a divisive movie, and I don't know like what the score is on fucking Rotten 44 on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, I just don't agree with
Is
that
that
at all.
3.1 on Letterboxd?
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
No, 44. I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't love it, but I feel like 44 is quite low.
I guess when you watch that first movie, you kind of expect something from the second movie, and when it doesn't deliver,
Got like a 55 on Metacritic.
Oh, okay.
so I guess when it doesn't deliver what that movie delivered in quite the same way, I guess it's quite a shift in how you would feel about it. But I probably preferred what this movie was trying to say over what the first movie was trying to say. As much as I do like that first movie,
Yeah.
I think I just got a lot more out of this one overall.
I think it definitely has a cult following. I think fans of the franchise really like this one.
Yeah, good. Count me in. Count me
Just
in,
for
baby.
them.
When Miyagi comes back to Okinawa and he sees Sato for the first time, Sato says, "So coward, you return."
Yeah, it felt like the beginning of like a gang movie.
It's like that scene in The Wicker Man. He says, "Welcome, fool." It was like that. Yeah. I almost like wanted this whole movie to just be about Daniel having physiotherapy on his leg. So how destroyed it got in that first movie. It was like bent.
Yeah, how
just
was he
the
even
other
walking
way.
on it? It was madness. Absolute
It was
madness.
fine.
And he just goes to Japan like nothing matters.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Madness.
It's good. It's good stuff. Great.
Should we rate this?
Yeah. We're
Rate it out of drum.
Drum.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I did enjoy this movie. I think I would definitely watch it again. I was really struggling throughout this one for some reason. I felt really wiped out and exhausted, so I think that didn't help. So like, really enjoyed the first and third act, but the second act I found a bit of a slog. But I think if I were to watch it again under better circumstances, I'd probably enjoy it a lot more. But for now, I think I give it like 6 drums out of 10. Still a good movie.
Yeah. It's a great movie. I really had a good time with it. Glad to have watched it. I would like to get it on physical Blu-ray at some point, because I'd watch this again. You know, if I'm going to watch the first one, I'll obviously watch this one again. It's the best one in the series for me, or at least of the ones that I've watched. I haven't watched the new Karate Kid or whatever the fuck that was called. The
next Karate.
The next Karate Kid, yeah. Just looks like
No
shit.
next about it. The subpar Karate Kid.
But yeah, really good time. I'll give it 8 drums out of 10.
Sorry, I had a bit of a build up. It's just like this long pause.
Yeah, we can't
for
like
everyone.
hear the build up. You just like sit there, and like we know what you're doing, but it's an auditory format.
It's alright, it'll be cut out.
Yeah, it'd be completely cut out.
Okay, that
And
is.
no one will understand what we're talking about.
Oh, that is fine.
Yeah.
Well, for the audience, basically, I've drank about 6 litres of Pepsi and I just needed to burp. There you go. That's the big build up. Yeah, movie. 5. What was it? Drums out of
Jeez.
10.
Yeah,
I
we do a lot of that, don't we? We
Yeah.
like comment on how long a pause was. We don't need to because Chris just
Yeah.
cuts them out.
Well-
so I listen to these back. It's like, God, you took forever to say that, but it happens like 0.5 seconds afterwards.
The power of editing.
The power of editing. Speaking of the power of editing,
Now we're going to have to talk about the third one, which is what I was trying to do before I started speaking as well. The Karate Kid Part 3 from 1989. Well, same
Yeah.
director and same people, so I'm not going to say too much about it, but
same gazers.
this one's also quite interesting that it also kind of follows straight from the first movie, but from the point of view of the screaming man, who I can't remember the name of.
Cobra Kai guy.
Yeah, the Cobra Kai guy. I can't remember
Yeah.
now.
It's like 18 months
John
after
Kreese.
the first one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so Cobra Kai is about to shut down. And then he joins forces with this other businessman who was like part of his school or something and got success, and then went did some random shit and got
He made
rich.
it big time.
He made it big time. And they want to get revenge on Daniel and Mr. Miyagi for winning the championship and ruining Cobra Kai man's existence.
They gotta kill these geezers.
They gotta kill him.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine your entire business failing after a year because some kid beat you in a tournament.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's the reason they failed, really.
They kind of
maybe
allude. They
that's
kind of
what they
allude to
pin
that.
to.
They
Yeah,
do,
that's what they
yeah.
say, but like
That can't
I
be the
think
only reason.
The real
surely.
reason should have been the guy was a lunatic
and he
and
probably wasn't a good
strangled
teacher.
his
Yeah,
student.
yeah. Like there was a lot to say, wasn't there? Because he's all like, "I haven't seen anyone come through those doors in 6 months," and it's like, well, you did that, right?
The banner on Letterboxd is like from a scene where he just like jumps into frame and he just screams.
Probably the best part, actually. I understand why they put that in there. They were like, people need to see this movie. This will make them watch it, right?
Yeah, this one sucks.
Yeah.
I didn't have a good time with it.
amazing.
I know you guys kind of loved it for how stupid and dumb it was, but I
That's
just
me.
didn't
I
care.
I mean, I didn't really.
Oh,
There
no,
was just bits where it were quite funny.
Yeah.
I do.
Most of
that's
it
the
was
thing, I
really
kind of-
boring.
Yeah, like
It's one of those.
it was really boring, but there was, I don't know, I was just trying to make the best of a bad thing. Like, if there's things that I could pull out of it and be like, this is the most uncomfortable, hilarious, and cringy thing ever, I'm just gonna try and have a good time. Because by the middle of the second movie, I just wanted to die anyway. So I was like, well, better crack on then. And it was a second wind. I felt like this movie was.
Yeah,
'Cause
well,
it was so bad. It had
we
me
did
going.
have a bit of a break
Yeah.
as well. Went for a little walk.
Yeah.
It got me going again. It was like what did I say when we were watching it? It was the bucket of water over the face that I needed.
Yeah, you got this new guy coming in who's just a massive freak.
Oh my god, he is.
Um,
Don't know who he is. Terry Silver, was that his name?
Terry Silver.
Yeah, he was great.
He was.
He was the best bit of the movie.
He was, but he was also the worst part of the
Yeah.
movie. Like, if you wanna
Yeah, he was
go down
hilarious.
that road.
Yeah, it was the worst of times. It was the blurst of times.
I
And
love that.
His scenes were like, I have
They're really
no idea
creepy,
what the
innit?
fuck they were doing. Like, what the fuck? He was so over the top with it, and I just don't understand. Like, yeah, it made it funny as shit, but it's like, dude, what the hell? Like, you know what you're doing, surely. You know that like first scene, or like sort of a scene when he's introduced and he's on the phone to Cobra Kai guy, to John Cleese. No,
John
John
Kreese.
Kreese. And he's like, yeah, you got to take revenge on Daniel because he destroyed Cobra Kai.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna train him. I'm gonna infiltrate him. I'm gonna train him, and then we'll get Cobra Kai back because I'm gonna train Daniel, and he's gonna lose everything.
Yeah.
How about that? How about that for winning the tournament in the first movie? And then like John Kreese is like, oh, do me a favor though. Make his knuckles bleed. And this fucking guy, Johnny Silver, is like, hey, I like that. I'm like, he's like in the bath, like on the phone to him. He's like, I like
Yeah.
that. I like that a lot. Oh man, this is so weird. He's got such a homoerotic vibe to him.
Oh
Yeah,
my
he
god,
does.
The whole movie
his
is
whole
like,
presence was like Ram Ranch, like
Yeah,
the whole
it's
thing.
like he carried a lot of Ram Ranch vibes. And
He did, he really did.
I don't like it. It doesn't work, man. I think it makes it stupid and funny for the movie,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah,
not for like a compelling character I'm
It's-
interested in.
yeah, it is quite strange because it almost feels like he could have been like a cool villain character, right? Because he had like all these like fucked up intentions, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make him so miserable. I'm gonna make him wish he was never born, and then he would just say things like, "Why don't you punch that 2-ply?" I was like, "What's wrong with this guy?" And he's always getting up in people's faces, and his hair's really greasy. Oh my god, he's horrible.
A man can't see, he can't fight. He just did that with all the body parts.
Yeah,
A man got no hands, he can't fight. It's like, okay, great. I'm pretty sure they knew that.
Yeah.
yeah. It was like, if he can't walk, he can't fight.
Yeah.
And every time he was saying something, it just felt like it was really creepy. Like everything just seemed so like insidious. It was very strange.
He was fucked up. He was taking Daniel over to the dark side. This was like a worse version of Revenge of the Sith.
Oh my god! Or like, you know that bit where he's like punching up the 2-ply and
Yeah.
he'll like hide behind a wall and start giggling like
A lot of it gave me strong Spider-Man 3 vibes.
It kind of was like that, yeah.
Especially like Daniel's arc, where it is kind of like the whole thing is like him having his like Venom moment, essentially.
especially when he's like, oh, I don't want to do karate anymore.
It's like, Mr. Miyagi, I completely betrayed you. I did everything wrong, man. I'm just gonna go back and I'm gonna tell him I'm gonna stop doing this karate because it's no good. It's no good, Miyagi. And it's like, dude, it's just
They treat it like it's the be-all or end-all of life.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like I don't know, he's in
It's
like
like, why did you
financial
have to-
ruin or something from it.
Can't you see what's happening to you, Daniel? Just don't go back.
Oh, it's so and like because me and Max were basically just saying the whole movie. He signed this contract to like do the tournament, right? Because the guys have coerced him into doing it or whatever. But like, why doesn't he just like not turn up? Like, just sign it and then like not go.
Yeah.
Like, what is the problem?
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
It's got this weird B plot, which I suppose was supposed to be quite wholesome, where like Mr. Miyagi opens a bonsai tree shop.
That was cute.
I didn't care about that at all.
No,
man.
It was
nothing
kind
really
of pointless.
happens with it.
Yeah, it was
No.
a throwaway plot, really.
It's like every
wasn't
time his trees got destroyed, you were like, no, it was his dream.
it?
Like, and in the grand scheme of things, it just don't give a shit about
Yeah.
it. It
Isn't
doesn't
the-
matter.
Isn't the plot just basically to serve the purpose of this is how we meet this new lady
Yeah.
that Daniel, I'm telling you, he's got unlimited riz because in every movie he's pulling birds
Clearly-
left, right, and centre.
Clearly, the actress in the second movie didn't want to come back for the third one, so they were like, he's got to get a new one.
It's like, oh, they couldn't keep up their Asian long distance relationship. Therefore,
Yeah.
he has to get.
And they hired a 17-year-old, so they had to partly rewrite it to take out any scenes of them like actually becoming boyfriend or girlfriend or like making out or anything like that.
Interesting. That does make sense because by the time this film came out, he must have been 30, maybe?
Oh,
No,
no.
just under. Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
that would be a bit. Yeah. And then why don't hire somebody who's
Yeah.
17? I'm confused. You had all the
You'd think.
power and
Mhm.
the lack of execution.
Although Ralph Macchio has aged really well, you can definitely tell he's not like still like 16 or however old he was supposed
No,
to be.
like this is gonna sound really awful as well, but he definitely waited a little bit, didn't he? Towards the end there, I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it came out a few years after.
Yeah,
so
it's
I guess
5
they-
years after the first one. You
Mm.
can definitely tell he's like 5 years older.
Mhm.
I don't think there's that much of a problem with it because like you stop really caring about that kind of thing, when you're watching this movie and you're like, God, this movie, the least of its problems are the fact that Daniel is 5
A lot of
years
its
old.
just
problems is
like-
it feels like a gay porn.
It feels like a
But
prelude.
it does just
to-
beg the question, why is it set 18 months after the first one and not 5 years later?
You would think that would just
Mm.
make more sense at least because
You'd think
didn't
they'd
have
be
to
able to
be-
do more with that.
yeah, it also
Because then
didn't
they
have
couldn't
to be
have
that way.
the scenes all where they're like, enter the tournament because we've got to beat you.
Oh yeah, because they can't be like, oh, you're
Like, well,
this
you-
year's champion.
clearly you
Yeah,
waited ages
yeah.
to do that, so it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah,
do you?
like you held on to that title for 5 years without having entered another tournament since, which I think is kind of dumb, but I get it.
more on the gay vibe. There's the scene
Very.
where, like Ralphie's or Daniel, he's training in the back garden, and then like the guy that fucking the other guy. Fuck, I can't
What,
do this
the-
without like looking up
The
his
one
name.
who's meant to be fighting with him.
The guy who takes him on. He's like, I'm going to be your teacher.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Oh,
Um,
that guy. Terry Silver.
Terry Silver.
I don't know the actor's name.
Yeah,
though.
Thomas Ian Griffin, who plays Terry Silver. So yeah,
Mhm.
Terry Silver, he comes, he like hires this kid who's like really good at karate. So like, he's like, oh, but we got to like,
so it's just like
we got to take him out. He's like, so you go into his garden while he's training to do karate, and then beat the shit out of him.
and then I'm gonna come
and
and,
then
beat the shit
I'll
out
come
of you.
in as you're doing that, and I'll just be like in my jeans, and I'll be going for a stroll because that's sort of like my ends, and I'll just be there, and I'll come in and save him, and it plays out like a gay porn.
Yeah.
He's like, oh man, you really got your ass handed to you back there, kid. Hey, you must be sore. And then he's like, get out of here, punk, get out of here. And he's like, you know what? I could teach you how to do karate because I'm pretty good at karate. So show me your moves. And you just do this like weird, this just like karate with each other in the back garden. It's like, who has time for this? This is so boring. And like, it just feels like it takes up so much time to say nothing.
Terry Silver's a very porn star name as well.
Yeah.
He felt like a porn star. Like if someone told me he was a porn star, in
Especially
his early
considering how
career,
many
I'd be like,
scenes there are of him just in the bar.
Yeah.
Like
oh my
he's
God.
Scarface
Yeah,
or
but they're
something.
kind of funny. Like the kind of funny that I got when Daniel was in the bed, like nursing his wound with the bath bomb or whatever, and then Mr. Miyagi standing at the door, and Daniel goes, "Who is it?" As if it's not Mr. Miyagi standing there.
He's the only other guy here, man.
It's also his shadow.
Yeah,
like you can see.
the exact shape of him.
When he said it, I actually lost it because I thought it looks just like Mr. Miyagi. Sounds like Mr. Miyagi.
I mean, I don't think he did it. I don't think he said it because he didn't know it was Mr. Miyagi. I think he said it to stall for time.
Yeah, but it's funnier to think the other thing. This film's like this is what like this film goes to like some levels of stupid, which I find quite fascinating, right? Because if you told me that all three of these films are made by the same guy, I wouldn't believe you, because that first film and this third film they're like...
No, this one really does feel like a cash grab. Doesn't feel like there's any passion or love put into it.
There can't be. It just doesn't make sense.
You do still have the dynamic between Daniel and Miyagi. That's still there because it was there in the other ones, and sort of hard to completely
crack,
do away with that. So that's still there. But it's also like, it's in service of nothing. I just don't care about this fucking bonsai shit. They like try to have this arc with Daniel and like likening him to the bonsai trees, but they go past show don't tell and just do show and also tell as well, where Mr. Miyagi like shows him the bonsai tree and he's like, you know what, you could have just been like, here's the tree that you broke, it's grown back and it's strong again, and that could have been it. But instead he's like, you know what, Daniel, this has a strong root, so it survived. And you have a strong root as well. You're kind of like this tree, Daniel, so you'll be okay too. You got that.
Did you hear you are the tree?
I fucking get it, man. But what's the point in having a metaphor there if you just can explain the metaphor?
I also, love that bit where Daniel and insert name here of lady, don't remember her, were like climbing down this mountain to get to the beautiful bonsai, and then the green screen comes on and is shaking in the background shit.
Yeah, and it looks like they've like found some stock footage from like 20 years prior. It's like really, really grainy and bad looking.
It's so obvious.
The thing is, I actually didn't think the green screen was the worst part though. It was the they did like these rock set pieces and they look like they're made of styrofoam. It's beautiful. It's like, what?
I love stuff like that.
What?
When like an actor like accidentally knocks the styrofoam rock. That's always great.
Yeah, especially with like how heavy a rock is meant to be, and the styrofoam rock just like moves like with the wind. It's like insane.
Where I thought Daniel was like quite charming and likable in the other ones, I actually found him really obnoxious in this one. Yeah, I feel like he was just complaining the whole time, just whining.
He was getting his knuckles beaten up by two plywood.
And like, granted, he like complained a lot in the other two, but he was still a likable character, and you still kind of understood what he was complaining about. Whereas in this, it's just like I said, it is like Spider-Man 3, where he's just like super whiny for no reason.
Yeah, it is a lot like that movie. Oh, dear.
I love talking about this movie because it's just.
Did you like when like they go to the Cobra Kai dojo?
Oh, but they had
they have like
face off.
They face off with Miyagi, and he beats the absolute shit out of all of them. And then they just like stand there like a mirror's been smashed, like bleeding. And then he's like, well, we're going to be the best Cobra Kai forever. We're going to be the best Cobra Kai karate school in the valley. Then you'll know. Woohoo! I'm like, this is so lame and cartoony. And also like, it's not warranted at all. You just got your asses handed to you.
Yeah, they all
you have the gall to sit there and just laugh about how you're going to be the greatest karate school in the world.
Yeah, like Daniel's standing there with like this look of utter confusion, and I think it's a warranted confusion, because he's like, what are they talking about? They're literally bleeding from their noses, and they're like, Cobra Kai, we're gonna open up more Cobra Kai.
You ain't seen the last of Cobra Kai.
Honestly, this whole thing is like so like I don't know, man. It's just so hilarious. Like, especially that bit at the end where they go back to the tournament, right? And Terry Silver's on the mic going, well, I learned all these values about honesty. And then they just keep cutting back to Daniel, who's like,
he's not honest.
Yeah, he's like inaudible. And he's turning to Miyagi going,
He's not honest to say he's honest, but he's not actually, is he?
I was like,
Oh,
we
yeah,
didn't need
okay.
to see that. Yeah, like it was quite obvious what he's getting at.
Oh, more towards the gay vibes. Sorry to keep bringing it up, but like at the end when that tournament is happening, and like Daniel's getting the shit kicked out of him. You cuts back to Terry Silver, and he goes, "I love it when he pounds him."
That was quite far, much. Like my
That was,
favourite
one
line.
of the best lines.
I think that had to be so intentionally done.
You have to know what
Like-
you're
Yeah,
doing.
definitely.
You
'Cause,
clearly know.
You can't make it basically a ram ranch and then say, I love it when he
Yeah.
pounds him and not be so funny.
And then say, "I don't know what Ram Ranch is." Like, you can't do that.
I mean,
you
I
know,
don't think ram ranch was a thing then.
but they knew.
Something of that caliber.
No, honestly, they keep doing like weird close-ups
Yeah,
when
there
they're in
was
the
a lot of
dojo
zoom-ins.
as well, between like Daniel and like Terry Silver. He's got their faces like really close up to each other, and it's like, well, they could lick each other's lips.
Yeah, I thought they were going to
So
kiss, to be
weird.
honest. Like, because I think it's the way that Terry was doing it though. He was like
Yeah.
going up to his face, and I was like, I feel like he's just going to kiss him just for
Fucking
the
weird
sake of
curled
doing it.
smile that he
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
It was so creepy. Especially like that bit where they go to the club or whatever it is, and Terry's like kind of stalking him around because he punches that guy in the face, and he's like doing another one of those like fucking oh my god, who's that geezer from the Wacky Races? He's like doing that like fucking Dick Dastardly thing. He's like standing behind the wall going again in this fucking club.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Literally the scene from Spider-Man 3 where he goes
Yeah.
to the bar and beats up that guy. He
was
looks at his
literally
hands, he's like,
ripped
"What have I
straight
done?"
Oh my god, I knew Spider-Man 3 had an influence from someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
He
I
could have just
actually
not done
don't-
the
yeah.
tournament.
He just didn't have to
Could've
go. I
just,
kept
like-
saying that. I
he
kept
could've
saying
just, like,
you should just
sent,
not
like,
gone.
"Oh, you're destroying the place. Yeah, I'll sign it, but I'm not going to go."
Yeah, like what if he had like food poisoning? Was he just going to
Yeah.
throw up over everyone while he does his like crane kicks or whatever?
You'd have just been like, "Yeah, I'll sign your thing," and just be like, "Yeah, sorry, I missed it. I forgot." It would have taken the heat off of them. And what are they going to do about it? Nothing. Nothing. Honestly,
Stupid.
so bad.
Yeah, this is a
So
dumb
bad.
movie.
Let's rate it. Let's root it.
Groot it. Let's go.
Out of Terry Silver's.
Terry Silver's my man.
Uh, yeah, this film sucks.
Yeah.
Such a big downgrade. But what do you expect from the Karate Kid Part 3? I mean, we're
I
lucky
didn't expect
enough
anything
that
from any
two
of
of
these
them are
movies.
good.
Max has a point.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was expecting this whole franchise to be, so I'm glad it
Mhm.
was just this one, but
Yeah, that's
I won't
actually
be
fair
returning
enough.
to this one anytime soon.
I
Yeah.
don't know, man. It's
4
got some,
Terry Silvers out of 10.
got some really fucking funny bits in it.
Yeah, and I won't be watching any of the others. All I need is the second one, and that's it. Maybe the first one. But yeah, always doing the old speaker. He's
I
getting
like
it
how
out.
he tried
it
to
ready.
get that under the table. It was just
Yeah.
so loud.
Good.
Doodly.
Yeah, good stuff. Really had a time with it. It's not good. It's not fun, really, even all that much. Definitely not fun enough to warrant watching it the whole way through. You could probably watch like a compilation.
I was
of
literally
just,
just
like,
thinking,
just
just
a
go on
Terry
YouTube
Silver
and look it
compilation.
up,
Just
yeah.
watch that
Yeah.
on the YouTube. 3 Terry Silvers out of 10.
Yeah, I also don't recommend watching this. If you can just go on YouTube and type in hilarious bits of Karate Kid 3 as opposed to best bits, because there are no best bits. 3
Terry Silver.
Terry Silvers out of 10. I keep
Oh.
forgetting what the ratings are today. I'm like, brains turned to
Sick.
mush.
So yeah, that brings us to the end.
Yeah.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks' time on the 30th of April. See how that goes. So we got a wheel to spin, and that'll tell us at random what we're going to watch the next episode.
Look at this man
Episode
buffing his speaker.
120.
Oh my god. That's quite sexual though. Aw.
It's come up with the Three Mothers trilogy, just like a Dario Argento trilogy.
Oh, cool.
That's Suspiria, Inferno, and Mother of Tears, I think.
I have
Okay,
no
cool.
idea what you've just
So,
said to me.
Can we do that?
Probably.
Cool. So that's the Three Mothers Dario Argento trilogy starring Suspiria, and those other ones.
Yeah, the ones that Chris just mentioned that I don't remember.
What was
already.
it? What were they?
So Suspiria, Inferno, and The Mother of Tears.
Awesome. Sounds cool.
That's the one I've not seen. I've seen the other two.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I've seen Suspiria. But I've not
I've-
seen the others.
I've also seen Suspiria.
Sick.
Nice.
Cool. That'll be with you in 2 weeks' time. Get your calendars ready for that. And in the meantime, follow our social media. We are YouTube, The Sunday Movie Marathon. Instagram, at Sunday Movie Pod.
Woo!
Twitter, at Sunday Movie Pod.
Woo!
Facebook, at Sunday Movie Marathon.
Woo!
And Letterboxd, at Sunday MM. Capital S, capital MM. Cheers for listening all the way to the end. You made it. Any last words, my friends?
Cobra Kai forever.
Cobra Kai! Shall I watch the show?
Yeah, I want to watch it.
Yeah, maybe
Oh, I
eventually.
don't know.
Heard it's pretty good.
Don't know now. Maybe.
Cobra Kai, baby. Cobra Kai.
Wow!
Forever and always.
Let's go watch the Mario movie.